Everyone, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. I'm Ian Christie. I'm with the Google News Initiative, and this is the first of our 2 sessions on AI tools for news. We have another session tomorrow, kind of same place, same time, and I'm going to do a deeper dive on that session on 2 particular products I'm going to talk to today. It's a lunchtime session. I want this session to be interactive. It's kind of informal. So I'm going to do my best to pause for questions as we go. And then if we have time at the end, I'll take any questions that you may have. We've got an hour. We have an hour and 10 minutes for this. So we'll see how we go on. But welcome and thank you for joining us. So let's kick it off by talking to kind of Google's mission concerning AI, which is making AI helpful for everyone. Now, TLDR, but AI is one of the most profound technologies that humanity is working on today. And that's whether it's helping doctors detect diseases earlier or access information or helping people access information in different languages, etc. AI opens up new opportunities that could significantly improve billions of lives. That's why we at Google reorientated the company around AI 8 years ago. And we're committed to making AI even more helpful for everyone, for people, for businesses, for communities, for as many people as we can. Now, while the shift to AI may feel kind of like sudden to some, we've been applying it to Google products for quite some time. In fact, AI is already integral to a lot of the products you use probably every single day. So for example, it's in Google Lens. Google Lens powers 12 billion visual searches per month. And it just helps people search for what they see effectively. You can search, you can shop, you can translate, you can identify it all with Google Lens. Google Lens is available on the Google app, on Google Camera, Google Photos, and Chrome, and it's super simple to use. Just quick show of hands, how many people in the room use Google Lens? Awesome. I find it very useful for things like washing instructions on clothes, because nobody understands those symbols. Can I park here? Put it to the sign, and it'll give you the answer. Another popular kind of application, if you like, of Google, AI is helping us with Google Maps. So AI is helping us to map over 1 billion buildings. That's 1 billion buildings globally on Google Maps to help people explore the real world. Show of hands, who used Google Maps before they came here today? And I'm going to put 2 hands up because I am in Google Maps every 5 minutes. Gmail, another application of AI. AI is helping more than 3 billion people, again, that's 3 billion people, benefit from AI-powered features in Google Workspace, such as Smart Compose and Smart Reply in Gmail. They're very basic things, but we're going to start with the basics and we're going to work up. More on those later. And obviously, I use Gmail with work, working with Google. Smart Compose, Smart Reply saves me a huge amount of time in terms of just managing my inbox. So that's another application of it. So all the many benefits afforded by AI gives us so many opportunities to deliver our mission at Google, which is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And hopefully in the course of today's session, I'll show you how those Google AI tools can make your job as journalists easier. Let's start with a kind of warm-up, like an introduction to AI, like the theory, the history, if you like, and then the language, because there is some language there, and then we'll kind of jump into the details of the tools. So most of you are probably aware, artificial intelligence is any computer system taught to mimic natural human intelligence. So that's programs taught to play board games, have conversations, summarize information, make stock market predictions, and create content, that sort of thing. AI analyzes and makes predictions incredibly well. It can find patterns and connections in large bodies of information that would be impossible for humans to identify. Now, you can see examples of this everywhere you look, really. So AI is used to suggest the most eco-friendly route from A to B or from X to Y. Depending on traffic, etc., it can enhance the impact of advertising campaigns to deliver increased return on investment. But looking at kind of it holistically, if you like, the left side of our brain is similar to analytical AI, and the right side of our brain is similar to generative AI. And let's look at that specifically in a little more detail. At first, traditional computer programming consisted in providing a specific set of instructions for a computer to execute. So you had to know precisely which sequence of actions to follow to get from input to output. It was as simple as that. It was a linear journey. Then neural networks came along in about 2012, and we trained AI with a bunch of data, e.g. a pile of animal pictures. And we asked AI to identify specifically what in amongst those pictures were pictures of cats. That's basically how it started. Now, TLDR and like neural networks, like what does that mean? Neural networks are a core component of artificial intelligence and machine learning. They are designed to mimic the human brain's structure and function with interconnected nodes or neurons organized in layers. Now, in terms of applications, in terms of what you can use neural networks for, well, they're kind of used in a wide variety of ways. So, for example, image recognition and computer vision, natural language processing and machine translation, speech recognition, predictive modeling and forecasting, and robotics and autonomous systems. So you kind of get the idea that can be applied to lots of different areas. So remember in 2012, we were training AI with like a bunch of animal pictures. After a certain amount of training, the AI became able to recognize cat pictures with greater quality. So this is an example of a single task model, and that's trained to solve one specific problem. Now, again, TLDR on that. Single task models, because they're trained to perform one specific narrow task, they excel at that task, or they should, or they can excel at that task, but may struggle with tasks outside their defined scope, unlike kind of like more general AI models. So with all this development in mind, looking ahead, making AI helpful for everyone is how we will continue to advance our mission at Google. All of this work is underpinned by our technical leadership in building the world's most advanced AI, but we obviously need to be principled about it. Our approach to harnessing the potential of AI is grounded in our founding mission, and again, bringing it back to that, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. In terms of our AI principles, we believe in our approach to AI must be both bold and responsible. Bold in rapidly innovating and deploying AI in groundbreaking products used by and benefiting for people everywhere, and contributing to scientific advances that deepen our understanding of the world and helping humanity address its most pressing challenges and also its opportunities. We need to be responsible at developing and deploying AI that addresses both user needs and broader responsibilities while safeguarding user safety, security, and privacy. We approach this work together by collaborating with a broad range of partners to make breakthroughs and maximize the broad benefits of AI while empowering others to build their own solutions. So those are our AI principles. So let's kind of ground it in something, okay? Let's think of these principles in terms of Google search. Who used Google search today? Love it. As we look ahead, Google's deep understanding of information combined with the unique capabilities of generative AI can transform how search works. We can use generative AI to unlock entirely new questions that search can answer. Now, think of how transformative Google search was when it launched, and then think of how transformative generative AI can be when applied to Google search. Remember that Google processes more than 8.5 billion searches per day. That equates to about 99,000 searches per second. There's obviously a huge opportunity for AI and for search. So still in search, Google AI overviews are now available in over 100 countries and territories. They are available in English, Hindi, Indonesian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish, appearing in Google search results where generative AI can be especially helpful in aiding understanding. Over the last year, we've answered billions of queries as part of our generative AI experimentation in search labs. With AI overviews, people will now be able to ask their most complex questions and quickly get information and links to dive deeper on a wide range of relevant websites, content, and perspectives. As we bring AI overviews to more people, we'll continue to focus on sending valuable traffic to publishers and to creators. Now, we found a couple of things with AI overviews. With AI overviews, people actually use search more. They are more satisfied with the results they get, and they are visiting a greater diversity of websites for help with more complex questions. So to kind of summarize that, I suppose AI overviews help people discover which links are going to be the most helpful for them and gives them a way to dig deeper, so aiding their understanding. This builds on our long history of delivering direct answers to queries, now powered by AI, while driving traffic to the web. We believe this experience is especially useful for more complex or evolving information journeys. It connects users to vibrant, niche parts of the web by putting links at the forefront of their experience. We're first starting rather, with a set of queries where we think generative AI can be especially useful. So these queries are actually more kind of like complex or involve questions where it may be helpful to get information from like a wide range of web pages. Good example of this is like, how do I get marks off painted walls? How do I get red wine out of a cream carpet? Those are the kind of questions that you would be asking. For particularly sensitive queries, and we call these like your money or your life queries, like the big queries, the deep queries, or for topics related to like rapidly changing events like news, we find that AI overviews are less likely to appear. So that's kind of our approach with AI overviews as it stands. We've also recognized that publishers need greater choice and control. Oh, hi. Is that any, if I lean in a bit more? Sorry, I'm kind of up my tippy toes here. We also recognize that publishers need greater choice and control over how their content is used for emerging generative AI use cases. The ecosystem needs simple and scalable solutions, providing transparency and control. We acknowledge the need to ensure publishers have choice over how their content is used and provide, as I said, both transparency and control. So in late 2003, we launched something called Google Extended, and that's a new control that web publishers can use to manage whether their sites help improve Gemini and something called Vertex AI. So Vertex AI, just FYI, is a fully managed, verified development platform for building and using generative AI. The key here, folks, from that slide is control. That's what I want you to take away from that. Going to very quickly pause there for questions. That's kind of the theory, the language, the introduction to it. Any thoughts, any questions I can help with before we move on? Everybody good? Cool. So that's kind of the intro, as I said. So let's look at some Google tools you can use that all leverage the power of AI. So we're going to kick that off with Gemini, and we have quite a few slides on Gemini this afternoon. Then we're going to look to fact check. NotebookLM and Pinpoint have their own session tomorrow. But mindful that some of you are here today might not be able to come to that session tomorrow. I'll do my best to speak to those tools. I'll kind of demonstrate them top line depending on the time that we have, but the deep dive on Notebook and Pinpoint will come tomorrow. And then we're going to round it out today with something called NCI, or News Consumer Insights. So 5 tools today, with a deeper dive on 2 of them tomorrow. And who's planning to come to tomorrow, just so I can get like a temperature check? Cool. Okay, so I might, in that case, do a deeper dive today. We'll see how we go. So Gemini. Honestly, I'm going to talk quite a bit about Gemini today, and I'm going to talk about Gemini for 3 specific reasons. 1, it's a huge deal at Google. 2, it powers so many of the tools that I'm going to talk to today. And 3, it's a huge deal at Google. So I'm going to really lean in to Gemini. Gemini marks like the next phase on our journey to make AI more helpful for everyone. And it's a great place to start. So again, we're going to start with the basics and kind of build up. This new era of models represents one of the biggest science and engineering efforts we have ever undertaken as a company. So that's why I said it's a big old deal, folks. It's built to enable future innovations like memory and planning. Excuse me. So let's look at some like specifics of where you can use Gemini in your day-to-day. Again, this idea of starting basics and kind of building up. So you can use Gemini in docs, sheets, slides, and more. I kind of mentioned these earlier on, but it's worth kind of mentioning how embedded Gemini is in Google products. So you can boost your productivity with Gemini embedded in like all of these spaces. FYI, Gemini, this is the kind of, the small print here, folks. Gemini in Gmail is only available with eligible workspace subscription or Google One with premium subscription. So I just want to caveat that. But Gemini can help you write, visualize, organize, and connect in your favorite Google apps. You can create original images from text right within your Google Slides so you can have more engaging presentations, super useful when we are so visual. You can turn ideas into action with Google Sheets. You can generate the data, you can slice and dice the data, you can use the data to be, you can show the data in more interesting, dynamic ways using Gemini and Google Sheets. You can foster more meaningful connections in Google Meet. And I would argue, like in our virtual world, the ability to do that is all the greater. Who spends most of their time on Zooms or Google Meets or whatever Microsoft does? Like, especially after the pandemic. I work 100% of the time remotely, so I like never see my colleagues. I'm never in the same room as them. So we use Gemini to foster those connections. It's very useful. And also you can keep a flow, you can keep on top of like workflow and projects and things like in Google Docs, you can streamline your communication. You can do all sorts of things with Gemini and all these tools. So let's start with like a basic application of AI. And that's basically how to write in Gmail. So first of all, folks, I apologize in advance. My laptop chose violence today, and there's something weird about how it's projecting. So I have to kind of do everything at a weird angle. So please forgive me while I show you this. Here is an email or a blank email. This is my Gmail. This is my work Gmail. This is Smart Compose and Smart Reply. You can see it there. I'm just going to type on it. And we've got it down. Does anybody use Smart Compose, Smart Reply? It's very helpful. It just like gets it kind of started. So write an email to the airline asking for a refund. And apologies for my terrible typing. So this might be an issue, folks. Apologies. Dropping in there. But anyway, I won't dwell on it. Basically, what you can do with Smart Compose and Smart Reply in Gmail is you can just start to type. You can ask it to produce something for you. It's also really smart in terms of giving you more options. So I think it's perhaps the way that it's set up or the screens are sharing. But you can drop it in, you can say, write an email to the airline asking for a refund, and it will generate the email. If you don't like the tone, you can change it. You can refresh it. You can rattle through some different options. You can change the tone of the email in terms of, do you want it to be assertive? Do you want it to be kind of more chatty? Do you want it to be friendlier? And you can run through all of these different options using Gemini and Gmail. So that's just a very basic way to kind of start it. Okay. I'm going to try, hopefully this will work in Sheets. And again, it could be an issue. Here's Sheets, folks. We all use Sheets. So that's the Gemini panel in Sheets. You can ask Gemini these questions like, what can Gemini do? Create a table, create a center. Let's see if this works. See, this works. This is good. Help with bar charts. And again, I apologize for my typing. Gemini goes away, it thinks, and it comes up with options. Now, if you're not proficient in data visualization, for example, and not many of us are, Gemini goes away, thinks, and it gives you all these links, hints, tips. It can do hints and tips. It can basically do it for you. So kind of lots of options there. That's in Google Sheets. Next one, Slides or Google Docs or Google Slides rather. Ask Gemini. Again, it will always give you a prompt. It will always say, well, we could start here, or you can always ask it something yourself. This is something fun. Give me a picture of a cat. Give me a picture of a cat in a Stetson, because we are in Texas, and it'll go away and it'll think about it. And if all is well, it will generate some awesome images of cats wearing Stetsons, hopefully. So as it's doing this, as we have this pause, oh, hi, we've got a question at the back. There you go. Look at these guys. And that's like, I mean, it's kind of like a fun way to do it. But if you have a presentation, and I think building presentations, building decks can be a bit of an art. You want them to be, you want them to be fun, and you want them to be visual. And this just really helps bring up images, bring up all sorts of different stuff you can put into your decks. You can use Gemini to put into your decks to kind of just freshen them up, to make them fun, to make them more engaging with your audience, to help you communicate better effectively. Sorry, we had a question at the back. I think it's available for everybody right now. I think the only subscription element is with Smart Compose and Smart Reply in Gmail, but it should be available for everybody based on the current knowledge that I have. But it's worth checking it out if you haven't ever used it. And again, these are just like fun, kind of easy ways to start with it. We did that. So Sheets and Slides, Gmail, Sheets and Slides. We're not standing still with this though. excuse me, Gemini is kind of evolving to be more than just the models. So it supports an entire ecosystem effectively, and I'm going to get a little bit technical here. It forms from the products that billions of people use every single day to the APIs and platforms helping developers and businesses to innovate. In 2025, we'll be bringing even more of our products into the Gemini ecosystem. So let's kind of like have a look at them. So first of all, Gemini for Google Workspace, I kind of talked about this. We talked about that a little earlier today. So it's built into the Workspace apps that millions of customers use every day and comes with enterprise-grade data protection. Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Meet, and more. They're all there. Gemini for Google Workspace is a powerful, collaborative partner that can act as a coach, thought partner, source of inspiration, and productivity booster, all while ensuring every user and organization has control over their data. And over the last year, more than 1 million people and thousands of companies have used generative AI in Workspace. Now, what I want you to think here, like we use these tools every day in like our daily lives. Think about how you could use these tools every day in your daily journalism, just to start small and work up, to make your lives easier, to take the grunt work away, do the boring admin so you can allocate your time and your resources to writing great stories, to content creation. That's kind of how the way I'd like kind of like to think about that today. And hopefully you'll get that kind of idea, that ethos in the tools we're going to talk to on this session or on the session tomorrow. Gemini for Google Cloud. So this is kind of a more technical aspect of it. Gemini for Google Cloud, it's a new generation of AI assistants for developers, specifically for developers, Google Cloud services and applications. So these assist users in working and coding more effectively, getting deeper data insights and navigating security challenges, very pertinent in today's world. So for example, you can use Gemini in Google Cloud to help you craft new designs, deploy workloads, manage applications, troubleshoot issues, and optimize performance and costs. So Gemini and Google Cloud, think about your organization, think about how you're structured, et cetera. Gemini and Google Cloud could be a huge asset for like the technical aspects of news production in terms of your site, in terms of page speed, in terms of new developments, in terms of improvements in UX, in UI, in site design, things like that. What I thought really interesting was literally the first message I saw when I rolled off the plane yesterday at the airport was how Google Cloud is being used to facilitate traffic management in Texas. Now you can apply it anywhere, and this is all the back-end technical stuff we're applying Gemini to Google Cloud. So quite a lot on this slide, but let's kind of look at other different aspects of it. Pixel, we're going to start with Pixel. Pixel 8 Pro is the first smartphone designed to run something called Gemini Nano. That's powering new features like Summarize in the Recorder app. That's rolling out in Smart Reply and Gboard. It's going to start with WhatsApp, Line, and Kakao Talk, and more messaging apps are going to be coming. So we're looking into the messaging apps and how we can use that. Pixel 9 has Gemini built in. New features there will include something called Deep Research that synthesizes dozens of websites and complex topics and writes reports for you. Gemini Live now has multimodal capabilities, so you can use your Pixel to search for information using images, audio, and video, all while naturally chatting with Gemini. Next is Gemini in Search. Obviously, we talked to that. Last year, we started experimenting with Gemini models in Search, where it helped make our generative AI experience faster. That's crucial, faster for users, with a 40% reduction in site latency in English in the US, alongside other improvements in quality. We talk, and we do a part of GNI is the GNI Labs. In our first lab on audience engagement, we talk a lot to site experience. Your site has to load quickly, your site has to load error-free, or your audience will go. So that we talk very much about site latency. And we could probably do just, are people aware of Google search overviews, Google AI overviews and search? I mean, they are super simple, but if anybody's not aware of it, AI overview. So again, typed it wrongly, me. So here's an AI overview. What are macros? So it's not just a search result, it's a deeper understanding of what it is. It breaks it down, it classifies it, it gives you hints and tips and links out to other things. And I genuinely have used this as an example because I was today years old when I realized that macros are short for macronutrients. I did not know that. So that's gonna help me with that level of understanding. We're going to run it out on ads. Anybody from a site? Oh, hi, sorry, question from the front. It gives a lot I think it bases them, the AI bases it on relevancy and recency to pull them out to the top. That's kind of how it works. It's very, very smart. But again, Google AI overviews in search is not available in everything. Like I said, that what are macros is an easy question to ask. It's like your money or your life, the fastly evolving situations. Like give me an update on the demonstrations in Turkey, for example. You're less likely to have an AI overview for that based on the type of content it's going to pull back. Just as it stands now, but it changes every 5 minutes. I think that's important to mention, folks. The evolution of everything I'm going to talk today is galloping. Like it actually sometimes can be a challenge to keep on top of these slides because you have to change them every week based on developments that have happened. Last question on this slide. Last question for me is, does anybody come from a site or have any experience with Google Ads or monetizing their sites? So you do, a lady at the back, thank you. Generative AI, Gemini, and Google Ads is going to be a game changer, to be honest, folks. So Google Ads recently announced their first features using Gemini models for search and performance max campaigns. If anybody works in that industry, more will come. These features will help advertisers drive more performance with less effort. And trust me, coming from an advertising background, that is what we are all about. It's all about the return on investment. So, for example, generating better keywords for search campaigns and targeting text with creative assets and programmatic campaigns, etc. They are all going to have generative AI, Gemini, applied to them to do more with less and generate more ROI on your ads, bucks and cents. We're going to talk a little bit to that in our final tool today, which is NCI. NCI speaks to your ad revenue model. It's one of the things it can look at. So let's round this out with Gemini. I'll move on to something else soon, promise. So Gemini, I'm going to just kind of like wind it all up. Supercharge your creativity and productivity, chat to start writing, planning, etc., learning, do more with Google AI. You can have it in a Gemini app on your phone. You can type, talk, you can add an image for all kinds of help you want, like on the go. Think of it as a research assistant helper, like in your pocket on your phone. You can take a picture of a flat tire and ask how to fix it. You can ask for a custom like dinner party invitation, for example. It's an important first step in building a true AI assistant, this idea of having Gemini on the app, on your phone, one that's conversation, multimodal, and helpful. You can have Gemini in the Google app. So you have a Gemini app and Gemini in the Google app as well. And iOS, you can access Gemini right from the Google app. It's right there. You can just tap the Gemini toggle and chat with Gemini to accelerate your creativity, create custom images, etc. You're getting the kind of idea. Folks, I was at a wedding on Friday and both grooms used Gemini to write their vows. Both of them. So, wow, that's a hot take there. And then we have something called Gemini Advanced. That's in subscriber only mode because it's a much more advanced model. It gives you access to Google's most capable AI models. That's obviously more for like a power user for somebody who's subscribed to it. Last slide in Gemini, promise, and we'll move on to other things. As of February 2025, Gemini 2.0 is available to everyone. Gemini 2.0 Flash is like they call it a workhorse model, optimal for high volume, high frequency tasks at scale. It's highly capable of multimodal reasoning across vast amounts of information with a context window of 1 million tokens. So there you go. It's been also encouragingly been very well received by the developer community. Gemini 2.0 Flash is now generally available to more people across Google's AI products, alongside improved performance in key benchmarks and text-to-speech coming soon. So that's something to watch out for. You can get Gemini 2.0 Flash in the Gemini app, the Gemini API in Google AI Studio, and Vertex AI. As the Gemini model family becomes more capable, Google will continue to invest in robust measures that ensure safe and secure use. So for example, our Gemini 2.0 lineup was built with new reinforcement learning techniques that use Gemini itself to critique its own responses. This was kind of touched on actually in the session just earlier on. This resulted in more accurate and targeted feedback and improved the model's ability to handle sensitive prompts. What I would say, folks, before we kind of move on to the next section is Gemini is evolving very, very, very quickly. Just keep abreast with it. I have to keep abreast with it in my job. And as I said, it's a bit of a challenge because it's developing so quickly. We are pumping out improvements, better iteration, new functionality all the time. So it's worthwhile thinking about what you can do. So that's Gemini, folks. I'm going to move on to something different. I'm going to look at some, we call this Google Fact Check tools. I'm going to start with Google Fact Check Explorer. quick question, get the temperature from the room. Has anyone used Google Fact Check Explorer? Awesome. How did you find it? Yeah. Love it. Okay. So basically, Fact Check Explorer, it gives journalists and fact checkers like a deeper way to learn about an image or a topic. So it's powered by something called Claim Review Markup, and that basically helps Google find, display, and detect a fact check effectively. Fact Check Explorer lets users find fact checks which have been investigated by independent fact checkers from around the world. That's a crucial part. It's like a team effort to kind of develop this. So when we were doing our kind of homework with this particular product, researchers at Google and several other fact-checking organizations reviewed over 130,000 fact checks containing misinformation claims dating back 30 years. So that's back to 1995. And we found that 80% involved photos or videos. Video became more common from about 2022, and that eventually, at the moment, makes up nearly half, 48% of all misinformation claims. These insights were published in a paper. That data set is available openly for researchers, etc. Just a reminder that misinformation is false information that is not intended to cause harm, whereas disinformation is false information that is deliberately intended to manipulate, cause damage, or guide people, organizations, countries, etc. in the wrong direction. So kind of making that distinction. Oops. So here's how you get started with Google Fact Check Explorer. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's free, it's browser-based. You can just access it, go to that URL. So if you have a specific image you want to upload and fact check, you can select an icon called Search by Image, or you can enter the image URL to search for that specific image. And we're using the very famous image from a few years ago of the Pope in a puffer jacket. That was kind of like a viral moment to kind of demonstrate kind of where the tool came into its own. You can select image context to see the image's history, subject, references. Important note here, folks, should one exist. If nothing is there, if it doesn't return a result, it means that image has not been fact-checked, so there is no body of information on that particular fact check. That's not to say there won't be in the future. Keep checking, obviously, as this product evolves. It's still very much in like its kind of infancy here. Keep on top of it, keep checking it, because it could change day to day, week to week, is what I'd say. You can also see the claim and rating from a published fact check article if one exists. So what I'll do again, try and show, not tell. Here it is. This is Fact Check Explorer, everyone. You can see some, kind of on the homepage of it, if you like, you can see some recent fact checks here. You can see at the moment, you can only see results in, I've just selected it for English rather. You can search for a fact check. You can enter a topic, keyword, see what comes up. If you have an image or an image URL, you just enter the URL or upload the image for your computer and then search for it. If something is there, if it has been fact-checked by those verifiers, something will come up. If it hasn't, it means it hasn't been fact-checked at that particular stage. But let's have a little bit of fun with it. Anybody want to shout out a topic and we'll just check to see if anything's there? Don't be shy. If not, I'll pick one. Should I pick on you? No, okay. Let's just fit. Okay, let's just pick this great city that we're in. Let's see what comes up when I go Austin. So here's the images that come up. This may mean, pardon me? Austin serial killer. Okay, I'll get to that. Thank you for that option. But when I looked at City, this video shows Austin Tice, a missing American journalist found in Syria. So this is interesting. It's picked up a person, not necessarily the city. So you could be more specific with your search terms. You could use the operators to see what comes up. When I checked it this morning, claimed by social media posts, University of Texas is texting fans to tell them their tickets have been revoked. And this is the rating. It's false. You can click on that. You can earn more information. You can learn more information. So Austin, are we doing serial as in a repeated action or serial as in like Cocoa Pops? Yeah. Now, if it's very new, nothing might come up, but you never know, right? So let's see. So no claims yet today on Thursday. Try again tomorrow is all I'd say. You never know. You never know. Yeah, so that's Google Fact Check Explorer, again, it's kind of like not it's a little bit in its infancy. It's kind of developing, it's broadening out. It's something that you, as I said, it's browser based. Have it on your browser, just check it out, see what comes up. Play around with it. It's super, super easy to use. Just go back to the deck. Hi.
So who are the fact checkers? Is it like a specific group of fact
It's a group of organizations all around the world doing hard work. Yep. And it's kind of like a network, if you like. It takes a village kind of thing to fact check all around the world. On that homepage, actually, what is quite encouraging is you see fact checks from just not from North America. There's a huge amount of fact checking done in the Philippines, for example. Rappler, if anybody's familiar with Rappler, they do a huge amount of fact checking on Filipino politics, and it will come up here. Hi. So, I beg your pardon, could you just repeat that one more time? Yeah, I absolutely can do it. So it's like the example of the Pope, the Pope in the puffer jacket. If you have an image and you look at it and go, I'm not sure if this is real or not, you can upload it to the tool. And if it has been fact checked by one of these other fact checkers, it will supply that. It will give you a result. It will give you a rating. But if nothing returns, it just means that nothing has been fact checked on that particular image yet. If it's noticeably AI, if it's been rated as AI generated, that is the response you will get. But somebody has to have rated it first. So for example, in that, the image of the Pope in the puffer jacket, that was the return data was, this has been AI generated, it is not real. The tool doesn't? No, the tool the tool itself is not powered by AI, but the tool is used to, if you like, identify AI using human brains, using a human network of fact checkers. Sorry, I didn't get that initially. What I would say with fact checker is I tried this. I was sent quite a noticeably false image. You know the film Love Actually? You know the Christmas film? On a WhatsApp group, I was sent an image of like a Love Actually sequel. And I first of all thought, oh my God, I cannot believe they've made a sequel because I'm no fan of Love Actually. That's a whole other conversation. But it was very noticeably made by AI. Anybody who looked at it could go, this is not real. This is not real. You know, the names were wrong. You know, Hugh Grant had like 6 fingers in one hand. Like it was obviously not right. And I was like, well, I'm going to run it through fact check. I used that as an image, but I didn't get any results yet because nobody has checked it yet. Obviously, there is so many AI generated images. It's very, very difficult to keep on top of. And that's why we're kind of like doing our best to run through as much as we can, but it is an evolving product. Cool. So Notebook LM, folks. Remember, we have a deep dive session on this tomorrow. I'll talk to the steps as best I can here in the time we have. We've gone for about 40 minutes thus far, so I think we're doing okay. Very quick temperature check. Is anybody using Notebook LM? Sir, you're using Notebook LM. How are you finding it? Cool. I honestly, and I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid here, it is so smart. It is such a smart tool. You can do so much with it, and it uses AI. So I'm really pleased to be kind of here talking to it today. So the way you want to approach Notebook LM, sorry, it's like a personalized AI research assistant. It helps you understand the information that matters most to you. It will help you make the most of your important documents and other research material, and it does this all by using AI. So in the screenshot there, and again, I'll take you to the tool in a moment, you can see what kind of Notebook LM looks like when you first log in and you haven't uploaded anything yet. It's very, very simple to use, which I think is one of its great advantages. There is a premium version called Notebook LM Plus. This is more storage and kind of more customization options. That's available in a variety of different easy ways through Workspace, Google Cloud, and part of the Google One AI Premium bundle. Sales pitch over. You don't need to throw money at Notebook LM Plus because the free version of Notebook LM, which is the one I'm going to show you today, is great. It can still do loads. Notebook LM Plus would be for more of a power user, but if you haven't, and as you know, the room, there's only one person using it first, just start on the free version, get used to how easy it is to use, how great it is in terms of making your life so much easier in terms of being like a research assistant, and just kind of take it from there. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into like the key benefits of Notebook LM. So what I want to stress is very important. Notebook LM is grounded in the information you upload and you trust. So unlike other AI tools, it's only going to provide information and responses based on the sources you upload. This is called being source grounded. Every response will include inline citations showing you exactly where in your source materials the information comes from, so you can always sense check it. If you have a query, you can click through in the citation, you can be taken to the point of truth. It's very useful to mention that. Again, with any AI tools, we'll always suggest that you double check anything it says. Do your due diligence, do your research, just check everything. We're very confident in these tools, but it's always worth checking, and it would always be our suggestion. So first of all, when you upload documents into Notebook LM, you'll instantly get a very, very powerful summarization, making your materials instantly more approachable. This is very smart, folks. You can upload some documents and it will instantly give you a summary of all of them that you can read in a heartbeat. Say you're rushing to a meeting, whatever, you can do it that way. Notebook LM is multimodal and it's also multilingual. So multimodal means you can input different modes of content. So you can input text or in audio or images and then have Notebook LM generate different modes of content like text or audio or even audio overview podcasts. So you can put in A effectively and ask for B out of it. It's very good at that. It's multilingual. This is a really cool feature as well. So you can upload content in one language. Say you upload a PDF in French, you can then ask it questions in English and get the answers back in English, and vice versa. So it's multilingual. In terms of kind of regions and language availability, it's available to all users over 18 in 180 regions where the Gemini API is currently available. So that's basically most places. And it's supported in over 100 languages. Important to mention this as well. Google never uses your personal data to train Notebook LM. If you're using Notebook LM with a personal Google email account and you choose to provide feedback, again, you have the control. Human reviewers may review your queries, uploads, and the model's responses. If you're using Notebook LM as a paid Google Workspace user, your uploads, queries, and the model's responses in Notebook LM will not be reviewed by human reviewers. So we've divided up I say workflow because it's actually super easy to use. In terms of how you get started with Notebook LM. So step one, you just upload files relevant to your story, your coverage area, your publication, your beat, etc., and have a think about how you would like to structure that. You can review the insights and summaries generated instantly from all your files, because the summary is going to be right there. You can collaborate with a virtual AI assistant, so you can ask it questions to interrogate the data, or you can also use the questions that are already there. It will pre-populate with questions. And you can create new content, either for internal use or to publish to your audience. This is great. It saves so much time. You can ask, you can put in stuff, and you can get a lot of stuff out of it at the other end. We'll take you through these 4 steps in a moment. Conscious of time, I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll finish Notebook LM. I might pause then for questions, and then we can go through Pinpoint and NCI, because we've got like 20 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll do a quick demo of this too. Show, don't tell, folks. It helps it. Oh, hi, sorry. Nope, it doesn't. It stays. It's your information that's pertinent to you. It won't be it won't be used to train the model. So the URL to access Notebook LM is there again, folks. When you first open up Notebook LM, you'll be asked to upload files to a notebook. Think of like a drive structure, just the way you organize it. It's called a notebook. You can create a notebook for like a specific topic. Think about how you would use it, a specific topic or a story, or if you're a journalist, you know, a beat you're covering, whatever. Just think about how you would organize your own files. As I said before, it's source grounded. So what you upload here, what you upload into Notebook LM will determine the answers and information that Notebook LM gives to you. You give it its point of truth and it will analyze its point of truth. Supports with lots of different file types. So you can do docs, slides, PDFs, websites, etc., YouTube videos and audio files. We don't do spreadsheets yet, but give it a week and it probably will, because the product roadmap is really run out. Each source can contain up to 500,000 words or up to 2 megabytes in terms of uploaded files. You can have up to 100 notebooks, and each notebook can contain up to 50 sources or files. So basically, this is the free version, and you have a huge amount to play with. The paid for version is like 3 times that much, but we're just going to talk to the free version right at the moment. So once you uploaded your files, NotebookLM will analyze them and give you that high-level summary, so you can read that in a heartbeat to kind of understand what it's about. It will suggest questions that you can use to interrogate your sources. These suggested questions are very smart. They're frankly better than anything I could come up with. And you can also ask your own questions of your own sources. In the screenshot there, and I'll show you this in a moment in the tool, we've updated some transcripts of NASA interviews about the Apollo space program. And you can see one of the suggested questions there is, how did the Apollo's program's culture shape its successes? Now, that's quite an advanced question. It's not like, what is a rocket? You know, it's much more advanced than that. And that's a suggested question that just is automatically generated. Suggested questions are, hi, sorry, yes. You can upload video files. Actually, so when it comes to video, what I'd suggest is you use our next product we're going to talk to, which is called Pinpoint. Sorry, I'm leaning into the microphone. Pinpoint is much better at video in terms of transcribing a video file into audio and giving you a transcription. So I would say Pinpoint, if you specifically want to upload videos, Pinpoint is a tool for you as opposed to NotebookLM, I'd say. Pinpoint is better at that. And I'll come to this in a moment. Gemini is incredibly good in terms of what the source types, like the types of file you can upload. It's good, it's not brilliant. Pinpoint is amazing in terms of the different file types you can upload. So something like that you'd want to do, so probably Pinpoint would be the better tool for you. So suggested questions, as I said, generate these suggested questions. So if you have got all this information and you are just literally just stunned, where do I even start to ask this questions? Suggested questions, the prompt will come up and you can just ask it there to kind of get it started, get it kind of moving. And this is kind of where NotebookLM becomes very powerful. Think of it as a virtual research assistant. You've got a chat box. You can ask questions about your documents to better understand them, like I said. It not only answers the questions, it will provide inline citations so you can click and go through and check to see where it actually is the basis of that data. What is the point of truth? You always have that control to go through. It's very helpful in the reporting process if you want to better understand complex documents. It does, I'll come to this in a minute, I'll show you it. You can, and also with NotebookLM, you can have all of your sources selected and ask questions of everything. If you only want to ask questions of one or two, you have that edit functionality, so you can just dip in and dip out. It's entirely up to you. So pick some, exclude others, you have that control. And the last part of the workflow really is to create new types of content. This is so smart. New types of content from the sources that you have uploaded. And this, to be honest with you, is kind of when NotebookLM kind of broke the internet. This was its viral moment, if you like, last year. You can create a podcast from anything featuring 2 hosts. We actually mentioned it in the session, the AI session, just about an hour ago. This is called our audio overview. NotebookLM can make a podcast out of any source you upload. It's pretty smart. And honestly, if you need a little boost, if you find your energy lagging and you have NotebookLM, take a copy of your resume, upload your resume to NotebookLM, generate an audio overview, and you can listen to a podcast about you. I did it. It takes about a couple of minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes. It's the nearest I've ever come to an out-of-body experience, because I'm like, these people are talking about me and they know everything about me. Insane. It's so smart. You can also create other content. So you can create things like study guides, briefing docs, FAQs, timelines, very useful if you've got a complex body of data you're trying to understand. And as of last week, it does mind maps. Just boom, it just arrived. So hopefully I'll show you all that in a moment. So that's Pinpoint. So I'll just take you to NotebookLM. Here's mine, just for demonstrative purposes. There's my NASA history. That's one I was playing around with this morning. I uploaded the Texas Constitution, so I can ask NotebookLM questions about that. I'll talk to this more tomorrow. And this is my own resume, which I generated the podcast from. Let's look at this NASA oral history notebook. So you can see it. And again, folks, apologies, I'm coming in at an angle. These are all my sources. And again, I can select and deselect as many of these as I want. These are all PDFs of transcriptions done in the late, I think it's done in the late 90s of the Apollo program, in the late 60s, early 70s. If you notice, it automatically generates this high-level summary. Like it automatically pops up. It took less than a second for that to generate. You can save that to a note, drop it in a PowerPoint, drop it in an email, use however you want it. You can copy it to clipboard. You can add your own notes. So you've got the functionality just to bang stuff in. I'll just get rid of that because we don't need that right now. That's your audio overview. I'll come to that. Mind map is new, but I want to come back to that. So you can see the questions here. This is a suggested question. I didn't need to do anything. That question was already there. I'm just going to ask it that. Sorry. There we go. I can't really see the question because I'm at an angle, but you can see the question is clearly sophisticated. It's not just what is a rocket. Like, there we go. It's given as an answer. It's interrogated your sources. It's given as an answer to all of that and inline citations. So I'm going to try and click on that, and it'll take you through to exactly where it is. So it's pretty smart. You can ask your own questions, free-flowing question. You can ask it in there. Crew mental health. And hopefully it's going to go away and generate an answer. That's pretty smart. So it's gone deep dive, broken it out in terms of the approach to the cruise, the Apollo cruise mental health. So it's all there. This is where you can do other things. You can generate a study guide. It will drop it into this kind of studio panel on the right-hand side. Interrogating the sources to provide that. So I'm just going to click on that quickly. Study guide, quiz, 10 questions, 10 answers, essay format questions. How long did that take? Less than 5 seconds. My colleague Mariana, who does my job for Spanish-speaking Latin America and who's through that room at the moment, she also works at a university in Mexico City. She used Notebook LM to generate a pop quiz for her students. She would have taken like 3-4 hours to generate that. She did it in Notebook LM. It took her less than 5 seconds. And then she reallocated her time to doing office hours and one-on-ones with her students. So again, this idea of AI, use it as a research assistant, use it as like a helper, use it as like a dog's body, whatever. Let it do the hard, boring grunt work so you can do the more fun stuff, the stuff you're better at. And that's a good example, I feel, of her doing that. We'll just get rid of that quickly because we don't need that. But you're kind of getting the idea of all the different things Notebook LM can do. Timeline. I won't go through all of them because it's easy to use and you can play with it. And hopefully you'll come back tomorrow and I'll kind of do a deeper dive on everything. So it's generating based on 7 sources. There you go. Timeline of main events. Pre-NASA, Mercury program, Gemini program, Apollo program, by month. Like if you have a complex subject and you want to understand, like when did what happen, did X come before Y or whatever, use the timeline functionality and figure it out. So that's Notebook LM. Who's impressed? Yeah, I love this. Yes, I'm very impressed with this. It's very cool. Pinpoint. So pinpoints are, so this is where I'm going to hopefully kind of, hi. No dumb questions. Yep. So, I mean, this is a huge topic, to be honest, but to answer your first question, sir, yes, it's source grounded. It will only give you responses on the sources you upload. If you upload one source, it will give you responses on one source. If you upload 100, I'll give you responses on 100. How it's used, how it's applied, I'm afraid that's a topic kind of beyond my pay grade, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But it's a fair question, right? Hi. So, great question, actually. Notebook LM is not so great at handwritten documents. pinpoint is? So that's a great question. And I'm going to that just seemed to turn off all by its own volition. No, I don't know, folks. It just seemed to turn itself off magically. Sorry. To build your own data points using those, and I'll show you that. very, very smart. You want to generate your own data, but you want to look through all that. You just want to fill it once. And lastly, audio transcriptions. Those are your point. Today, transcribing audio files. We also transcribe video files, and you get times capture, timestamp transcription. You can click through files. And what I do want to go just in a question, back to here. What I want to show you just really quickly. So again, super easy to use. Like the election and the board. Okay. On this, what I want to show you category. I can't remember what. Add your link to your question. You've got kind of overall clips you can upload, email files, PDFs, obviously, PNG, etc. I want to click on this and show you this is the type, this is the amount of different file types that are supported. This is, Pinpoint don't get any, very, very rarely get asked to add a different file type to the source because it already does so many of them. It's way better at that than Notebook LM, for example, which is more limited in the amount of files that you have. So if you're working on a topic or a story or a beat or back on or whatever, and you have a huge variety of file types and you want to find a needle in a haystack, you want to make sense of it, Pinpoint is probably the tool for you. It's for investigative journalists. It's for the deep dive. It's for the really getting your hands dirty in a particular subject, is what I'd say. And with that, we don't have time for news consumer insights, unfortunately. Do we have time for questions or are we going to wind it up? Folks, all I would say is I'm around, I'm here. I'm also back tomorrow. So if there's any note for Pinpoint and Notebook specifically, I'll do a deeper dive. I'll do a demo. I'll show you the podcast. That's going to be a whole moment. But thank you so much for coming today. And hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow as well. Hi.